In 1977, fishermen off the coast of Newfoundland heard an explosion so loud it shattered windows, but no one could explain where it came from. For decades, that boom wasn't a one-time event. It happened again and again, sometimes weekly, sometimes silent for months. The fishing community of Bell Island didn't panic at first. They were practical people, accustomed to the Atlantic's moods. But as the years accumulated, so did the theories. And like most unsolved mysteries, the explanations became increasingly creative. Let's rewind. Bell Island sits off the northeast coast of Newfoundland, a place where the Atlantic meets isolation. In the 1970s, the community relied almost entirely on fishing. The boom, a deep, subsonic rumble that residents felt in their chests before they heard it, first became a matter of public record around 1977. But here's where skepticism enters the courtroom. The Canadian government was contacted. Seismologists were consulted. Everyone had a culprit in mind: underground explosions, military testing, seismic activity. The evidence, though, it didn't align. Seismic instruments registered nothing when residents reported booms. No military operations matched the timeline. No geological surveys confirmed tremors. This is where most explanations collapse under scrutiny. Locals offered their own theories. Some blamed offshore drilling operations. Others whispered about secret weapons testing. A few pointed to Soviet submarines prowling the Atlantic. Each theory sounded plausible in isolation. Each one fell apart when pressed against documentation. No drilling permits matched the boom dates. No weapons tests were ever confirmed. And submarine activity, that required evidence that never materialized. Here's what makes this case instructive. People don't fabricate mysteries out of thin air. The booms were real. Hundreds of residents heard them. Windows broke. Dishes rattled. The phenomenon was documented, reported, investigated. But documentation of the event doesn't equal documentation of its cause. That's the crucial distinction. By the 1980s, a new theory emerged from the academic community: ice quakes. When glacial ice sheets fracture under immense pressure, they release energy. The Atlantic waters near Bell Island occasionally experience ice dynamics that could produce acoustic events. It's plausible, it's testable, but it also creates a problem. Ice quakes don't match the frequency pattern of reported booms. The booms continued sporadically into the 1990s and early 2000s. Scientists installed underwater monitoring equipment. Acoustic sensors were deployed, and then something curious happened. The booms stopped, or became so infrequent that they faded from collective memory. No final explanation. No resolution. Just silence. Now here's where the skeptical lens matters most. The Bell Island boom became a cultural touchstone. It spawned folklore, speculation, and eventually, like all unsolved mysteries, it attracted people selling explanations. Paranormal investigators, UFO researchers, fringe scientists peddling theories that required zero evidence but maximum credulity. This is the pattern worth examining. When a legitimate mystery exists, something real but unexplained, it creates a vacuum. And nature abhors a vacuum, so people fill it. Not always with lies, mind you, often with genuine misunderstanding. But the effect is the same. The further you get from the original evidence, the more elaborate and unfalsifiable the theories become. The strongest explanation, supported by modern acoustic research, points to a combination of factors: underwater geological activity, iceberg calving, and possibly methane hydrate release from the seafloor. Not dramatic, not mysterious, but consistent with the available data. It's the answer that emerges when you strip away the narrative and follow the evidence. What's instructive about Bell Island isn't the boom itself. It's what happened after. A real phenomenon became a vessel for speculation. A legitimate mystery became a template for unfalsifiable claims. And a fishing community's genuine experience became raw material for people selling certainty they didn't possess. This is how deception operates, not always through outright lies, but through the exploitation of genuine confusion. Someone heard the boom, it was real, but explaining it, that's where the opportunity opens. That's where bad actors move in. And that's where critical thinking becomes your only defense. The Bell Island boom remains partially unsolved. And that's fine. Not every mystery demands a resolution. What matters is distinguishing between genuine uncertainty and manufactured certainty, between we don't know and we've got the answer. One is honest. The other is a sales pitch. The people who profited from Bell Island's mystery, the paranormal investigators, the UFO researchers, the book authors, They understood something fundamental. Unexplained phenomena are valuable. They attract attention. They generate revenue. And they're nearly impossible to disprove, which makes them perfect for exploitation. But here's the counterargument, and it deserves consideration. Maybe some mysteries don't have easy answers. Maybe the scientific community got it wrong. Maybe there's something genuinely unexplainable happening off Bell Island. It's possible. It's just not supported by the evidence we actually have. And that distinction between possible and probable is everything. The booms stopped. The mystery faded. The fishing community moved on. And life returned to normal, which is precisely what happens when you follow evidence instead of narrative. The dramatic ending we crave, sometimes it never comes. And that's when you know you've been thinking clearly. What Bell Island teaches us is this: mysteries are real. But so is the human impulse to solve them, sometimes at the expense of accuracy. We want closure, we want explanation, and we're willing to accept elaborate theories rather than admit uncertainty. That's not a character flaw, that's human nature. But it's also the exact vulnerability that makes us susceptible to deception. The next time you encounter an unsolved mystery, ask yourself, who benefits from it staying unsolved? Who's selling certainty about something that's genuinely uncertain? That question will cut through more deception than any amount of skepticism alone. Subscribe, because next week, we're examining how a decades-long hoax turned a small town into a cautionary tale. Subscribe, because next week, we're examining how a decades-long hoax turned a small town into a cautionary tale.